So it really turned out to be a really great investigation for us, but the couple moved out 3 weeks later.
Wow. Huh. Yeah, I
But
hate that.
they were dealing with some stuff there though. I mean, they really were. They had recordings and they had some audio on some stuff that happened while we weren't there.
Right.
And I can tell you that these people were genuinely frightened, and I
I would
probably
be
would have
too.
been too.
Yeah, I would be too. Yeah. So, uh, what or where would you like to investigate that you have not been to yet?
I've been to a lot of places. Even I've even gone all the way out to Estes Park, Colorado, and investigated the Stanley Hotel, several different parts of the Stanley at different time periods. But to be completely honest with you, there's a few places that really are really at the top of my list. I would love to make it to Vlad the Impaler's castle. That's been on my wish list for probably 20 years. Um, but getting out in the West Coast and investigating the Winchester Mansion,
You'd like to do that?
I would. I really would because there's so much mystique behind all of that to
Barbara,
me.
have you been there?
Overpriced. And, well, I guess they've opened it up so that you can spend the night in the cottages outside. And that might open up something. But if you go in the daytime, it's like, no.
Yeah. So I
But,
mean, so you've investigated it, Barbara?
no, and you really can't. When I went down there, I've been there a couple of times.
Okay.
When I go down there, it's all guided tours because you can get lost really fast.
Oh, I can
Uh,
only imagine.
and I think if you rent a cottage for the night, you're allowed to go on the grounds, but I don't think they let you back in the house.
Yeah, you see, and
Yeah.
that's not the kind of experience I want. I wanted to
Yeah.
be given the keys and said, told we'll see you in the morning,
Well,
and
If they can
that's
find you in the morning.
yeah, right. I'd be willing to use a GPS locator if I needed to.
so how many rooms are in that place? Do they know?
Oh, no idea. They've discovered a new one, as a matter of
I was
fact.
going to say they're
Really?
still finding areas, right?
Yeah.
Wow. Gee.
Boarded up and furnished, but still intact.
Hmm.
She just
Wow.
walled it up.
And
Well,
Barb,
and there's really no way to ever speculate on rhyme or reason as to why she did what she did. Um, I know what she believes, but I also know that town folks said that she was completely out of her mind.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah,
spending
I'd
the
say
money
so.
doing something like that. Yeah, she had problems. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. One of the other places that I'd like to make it back down to, now that I got this thing going on with TJ and the podcast, we're eventually going to have a Patreon member page where you pay $5 extra a month, but you get the exclusive inside information and the exclusive inside visits, access to what we're doing. Because we're already planning on doing some really good stops this year and doing some investigating. And our Patreon members are going to be the only ones who are going to be able to see those places. So we've thought about going back down to Tennessee and doing some footage, some video, shoot some video down where the whole Bell Witch story took place and visiting the Bell Cave and all of that. Um, we actually want to. Him and I actually are going to be at a business convention later on this year in Atlanta, so we wanted to actually go out and visit some places where, if you ever get into listening or checking out the documentaries on the Atlanta child murders, we're actually going to go and visit a couple areas and a couple places where some of those kids were abducted, and we're going to follow up on some of that stuff that we've talked about on our podcast, and we're actually going to do some video work from right there on the scene, which will be daunting because none of those areas in Atlanta are any place that we would want to be without security.
Right.
So There's that. Like I said, we did a podcast on the Can-Am project, David Paulides and the missing 411 people. It's just thousands of disappearances around state parks and other areas around the United States where people have just vanished in the thin air while they were with other people. Unsolved cases and things like that. I think we're planning a trip to the Bel Air House. I think we're going to possibly go live and do a podcast seance from the living room of the Bel Air House. And the cool thing that I really like about the Bel Air House is that it's 6 miles away from West Virginia State Penitentiary. Wow. So, you go in there on a Friday or a Saturday and you investigate, and then you get up on Sunday and you go to the prison and you go do a 90-minute tour there. So you got the tour, which is of the prison, which has the original electric chair, old Sparky. Of course, they put I think 85 or 92 people to death there. It's a closed down prison. You can still do tours through there. They're 90-minute excursions for like $14 a person. And very, very cool. You walk through the entire prison and check things out. And then there's a huge Native American burial mound right outside of the prison. Wow. So there's, another piece of history, and that TJ and I are highly interested in. So we talk about, Native Americans and the mound builders, even getting into talking about the giants like the Nephilim and all those guys. And then Steve Hummel's got the Archive of the Afterlife there, right there by the prison as well. So it's like I keep telling him we're going to go there and we're going to make an entire weekend of just filming and doing a lot of recording from on site there, and then go live, with a seance from the Bel Air House. And we got a few other things coming up, and the Post Town non-con event is coming up. And we haven't done any announcements on any of that for quite a while, just simply because we didn't know what the heck was going to go on with this whole COVID thing.
Yeah.
We didn't want to keep pouring a bunch of man hours into this and making plans for everything and everybody just for it to be canceled. Yeah. But I think right now, being at the Post Town event's not until September, late September. I think we're good to go ahead and continue on with this. Barring another great shutdown.
Right.
So I can see the Firelands Podcast possibly doing some shorts and doing some film there that weekend. The cool thing about that this year is that we've made changes, Henry, and I don't know if you know it or not, but the Post Town non-con event is now going to be an indoor event. Okay, vendors are now going to be setting up inside of the school instead of outside.
Right. I've been there before when it's been really windy and cold, and you just didn't get many people there.
Well, and the thing about that is, and you can attest to this because I think you were there that one year that, it was a pretty nice day, and then all of a sudden a couple rogue winds, like 25, 30 mile an hour winds come through and started lifting all those canopies up.
Mine was one of them.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. That's scary stuff when that happens because you can't plan for it out of the blue.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, I think me and Tiffany was sharing my little cover then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So. Absolutely. So we've moved it inside. Okay. So now this year, rather than it being a Saturday, just a Saturday, you can come to Post Town Friday night. They're opening up the grounds for camping. There's a huge area in the back there. You've seen it, Henry. It's a nice area back there. Yeah. About 20 or 30 people last year came and camped. So it was a good time, and we camped out the night before, toured the school in the evening. We sat around a bonfire. The Wismans made a lot of delicious food. A couple people brought guitars. We told stories. We had Roberta Brown Simpson there, who's a famed storyteller from Kentucky. She was there telling ghost stories around the fire. And then, we all crashed out and woke up, and we were already at the school. People started showing up. It worked out wonderfully last year. So this year we decided we were going to do the same thing. So you can camp out on Friday, stay on Saturday, set up all day on Saturday, and then we're also going to continue the non-con event into Sunday. Ah. So for anybody who wants to come, if you want to grab a hotel room for a couple of days, or whether you just want to rough it and camp and just get out with everybody, we're going to do an investigation Friday night and Saturday night. We think by doing it that way, we can keep the groups kind of smaller and get everybody in that wants to get in, because we've had to turn people away in the past because we don't want to overpopulate the investigation.
No. You can't really get too much that way. Yeah.
And it will sell out every time. So we did make some changes this year, change it up. Of course, we've got some fantastic people coming that have never been to the non-con event in the past. So we got Rick Hayes coming, Scotty Rorick's coming.
Rick Hayes, I'm good friends with. Scotty Rorick, I'm good friends with. Matter of fact, he was on the very first investigation that I did, and I wasn't even doing the show yet. Dave and Tom had asked me to get information on the place for him, phone number and stuff, and he said, when we get it set up, you're going to go investigate with us. And I said, who, me in a place where there's ghosts? No way. But I did, and Scotty Rorick was there, and Tim Shaw was there, and I mean he had people coming from everywhere, some from California.
Scotty Rorick is such a fantastic guy. He grows on you instantly. He's a genuine fella.
Yeah.
He's a hard guy not to love the first time you ever meet him. Yeah. Him and his wife Terry are very, very fantastic people. Yeah. Rick Hayes, another guy that's just over the moon and back for everybody. Oh, yeah. And such a genuine guy. You can't find a bad bone in either one of those guys' bodies. So we're excited to have them on board. We're going to be bringing in cosplay actor Lars Van Crafter, which is a dead knockoff for Norman Reedus. And I'll tell you right now, I did an investigation with this guy last year in Cynthiana, Kentucky, at the Rohr's Opera House is what it's called. And that's where the original writer from The Walking Dead grew up at when he was actually writing that series. So, you go to this theater and it's just got this huge Walking Dead mural on the side of it. So we brought Lars Van Crafter with us, which looks exactly like Norman Reedus. And literally, the town came alive. All we did was myself, Keith Age, Robin, Lars's wife, Julie, and we unpacked, we parked our cars there in town and just walked around, and people came out of shops. They really honestly thought Norman Reedus was there. Huh. They were thanking him for what he had done for the series, because the series had done so much for Cynthiana. I mean, literally, here's Lars telling these people, I'm not really Norman Reedus, and these people are looking right at him and saying, yeah, that's exactly what the real Norman Reedus would say. There were people that were offering free food, free drinks, come into our establishment. Oh my God, let's do photos. It made me feel like I wish I had brought the real Norman Reedus. Because, I mean, you saw a small town with a lot of hope. And it was just really, really great. It was a Keith Age moment. Keith Age has been known to put together these just moments like this with these great ideas that really blossom into something that's really emotional. And that's exactly what that was. And I'm not going to lie to you. I sat 5 feet away from this guy, not even 4 feet away from this guy in a hotel room in broad daylight, looking right at him in a chair. And I'm like, I can't see a distinguishing difference between you and Norman, the way you talk, your mannerisms, the way you walk. And I said, have you ever met Norman? And he says, yes, many times. Huh. He was like, the first time I met him, I was in line to get his autograph. And he took one look at me and said, holy shit, it's me. So it's like, so he's got pictures with Norman. I mean, in the look at them both together, they look like twins, Wow. So we're offering a little bit of a diverse dynamic this year for non-con. And, Middletown's a tough nut to crack, and you would think non-con would do so good being right between Cincinnati and Dayton.
Right. But
two huge cities that are just a skip away from this place.
And there's times when I'd be set up, and you might get 2 people walk by my table the whole time.
Yeah.
But then there was times when the place would be packed. So
yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, it was just like the Hannah House. For many, many years, you struggled to get more than 30 or 40 teams there, and you hoped for good weather because these outdoor events, even though they're free, they're a crapshoot when it comes to Mother Nature.
Oh, yeah.
And the second to the last paranormal event that we hosted at the Hannah House, it was so big um, that and literally the people that were doing tours in the house were doing tours for 10 straight hours without a single break.
Wow.
The line to go through the house was out off the property. It snaked all the way through the property, out off the property, and there was some 900 people that walked through the Hannah House in a
Wow.
6-hour period.
Wow.
So you struggle with those events sometimes, and other times they're fantastic. So
our
but
time
just
our time
yep,
is just
our,
about run out. So
yep.
what I want you to do is tell everybody how they can follow you, get in contact with you, and then I want you to stay on till we're off, and we'll thank you after we get off.
Sure, no problem. Anybody who's looking for me can find me at my personal page, Jason Snyder. They can also find a fan page out there, just a paranormal page, whatever you'd like to call it, and it's also Jason Snyder, Paranormal Investigator. I also moderate and am co-host of the Firelands Podcast. We are also on Facebook, Podbean, iTunes, and soon we're going to be on YouTube. And if anybody's interested in events like the one that we were just talking about, it's on September 26th, starts at 9 a.m., and that's called Non-Con. Stands for non-conference. It's just a meet and greet, just down low, fun. Just come by, meet people. It's all free except for the investigation. We'd love to have you come shake hands with a lot of wonderful people and share the day with us.
All right. With that, our time's just about time to go. So I want to thank everybody for being with us tonight and listening. Hope you had a great time. And with that, I think what we'll do is we'll jump on off and see you next week at the same time. So this is Henry Foister.
Jeffrey Gould.
And Barbara Duncan.
And so good night, everybody. Have a great weekend. You've been listening to the Paranormal View on the ParaX Radio Network. Join us again next week at the same time for more of the Paranormal